to get it. It's not hard, you don't have to lift weights to get a voice, but to get a distorted voice you do. For example, the one I showed you about lifting the weight. That's a real great exercise to use if you have your puppet in a trunk or a box, and you have an audience out here, and your box is shut, and you want the audience to think that the puppet is talking inside the box or the trunk, right? So pretend this is the trunk, and I'm saying, okay, it's time to get up. Knock, 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 you're knocking on the trunk, right? Oh my goodness, you must be really sleeping. You knock harder. Wake up!
Leave me alone, Brian, there's a lady around here. Can't do no sleeping around here, you crazy guy, and all this noise and everything, got flood flash flooding and everything.
See how it's muffling? That sound is coming from distorted air, or I'm using a little bit of that kind of exercise, but you curl your tongue and you use your tongue off the roof of your mouth and you go, ooh, like you're yawning. And you all yawn like, boy, Bob is really boring. Well, that ooh sound is your muffled voice, so you can have a puppet in a box. And kids love it because when you're knocking on the box and the dummy doesn't respond, and then you keep persisting, and then finally he just says, "Oh, leave me alone! This is leaving around here," you know. And then when you open the trunk, then you can use your natural voice. I can't get any sleep around here. All this noise, knocking and everything. That's just like an introduction you can use, okay? But that's a different voice, that muffled voice. When it comes to character voices, I always tell everybody, excuse me, make sure you get a voice before you get the puppet. A lot of people go out and they'll get a puppet because they think it looks really cool. But then when they get the puppet, they can't get a voice that fits that character. So that's kind of a quandary to be in, you know. You spend all this money, you know. That's why it's better to make your own puppet out of a stuffed animal, because you can do it for about $7. So if you mess up, you can always give it away to somebody and try again, you know. But so when you have your puppet that you wanted, I hope that you will practice a voice. How do you practice a voice? You can do it in front of your bathroom mirror. Just stand in front of the mirror and just look at yourself and look at some emotions you have in your life. Like I said, when you're happy, use a happy sound, or sad, or depressed, you know. And you can practice the musical scale, like la 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 la. That'll kind of give you an idea. And you can put your hand on your voice box when you're doing that. And I'm not going to lie to you, there's no shortcuts to getting a voice. You have to experiment with it. It takes a little time. My first voice that I had, I really liked it, but it was too high for me. And after I practiced for about 15 minutes. My voice was kind of sore and scratchy. And but that was my first voice. I didn't have another one, so I was kind of in denial. I said, well, I got that voice, so I'm going to keep using this voice. But then I kept getting a scratchy throat. I said, this isn't going to work out. I got to get a different voice. The voice I had was really high. My first dummy, his name was Samuel, and it was really high. Let's see if I can pull it out of my memory here.
Hey, how you doing there? Samuel here. How you doing there?
You see how the sound is kind of distorted? It's like,
Yeah, looking away. Yeah, Samuel here.
and it's not a bad voice if you only talk for 5 minutes, but for 15 minutes it's a strain. It was too much. So finally I changed. I sat in front of my wife's dresser mirror, and I sat down, and I just sat there and I just practiced ranges and tones and voices. And eventually, over a period of months and years even, because as you get older, your voice actually changes a little bit. So you might, have to work on that, or especially if you get a lot of puppets. And so let me just give you a few quick examples of some of the voices I have. But let me say this before I start. When you get a voice for your puppet, that is the voice for that puppet. Okay? Don't use the same voice for a second puppet or a third puppet. All right? You understand what I'm saying? If you have 4 puppets that you use, you should have a different voice for each puppet. Now, there are exceptions to that. If you're doing a program somewhere and they've never seen your 4 puppets before, and you have a sore throat, and you can't do a high voice, you can substitute a voice. Nobody will know. But generally speaking, don't do it. Because you want your audience to get used to your characters. Because they're characters. You know, and let me just show you. I know some of you were here yesterday, but most of you weren't. So you can kind of see some of the voices I have. And you can see that the voice that I have for the puppet actually fits that character. The first one I'll show you is the frog. And he's the big frog, but he's kind of slow.